We're shaking, people. Back with another reaction, back with some more Trance. Now back to react to DJ Quicksilver for the first time. This is a Trance. It isn't single person artist, but it was co-produced in the early days by a really notable acid producer. I don't know if I've reacted to any De Donatis tracks, but De Donatis, pretty famous acid trance techno artist. I have a number of his tunes on some different labels under some different names. But yeah, DJ Quicksilver, Oren, I think he's like a Turkish German guy, and he, again, the early Quicksilver stuff is co-produced with De Donatis. Eventually, it just became a solo Oren project, but I don't know at this point. Quicksilver, or Free, is from 1997. I also have Planet Love, which is also from 1997, and Time Rider, which is also from 1997. So yeah, I have a number of tunes from sort of seemingly the peak output period of the Quicksilver project, though I don't know if this is from before or after De Donatis left the project. In any case, it's funny. The track we're going to listen to, like I said, is called Free, and this is a tune that I played at parties at least a few times, like 2 or 3 times back when I was playing parties in my early phase of DJing. Which again was like late 99 to 03, at which point, the companies that I had played for stopped throwing parties, and gigs were drying up anyway, and I basically took a hiatus till about 08 or so, when then I got back into it, and I've been into DJing again ever since. Nevertheless, I used to play the club mix of this track. And the club mix is a good version, but it's interesting because there's 2 other versions on here, a distant drum mix and a JDS remix. And when I connected with this vinyl recently, those 2 versions, it was like, dude, why didn't I play these? They're almost, I feel like they're maybe better than the club mix. They certainly both have more acid than the club mix, so it's weird to me that back in the day, I apparently fixated on the club mix, but because I did, and because it's the version I played at parties, that's the one we'll start with, and then I'll come back for both of those other remixes I mentioned. So, let's get it. This is DJ Quicksilver, the track is Free, and this is the club mix. And this is from 1997 on the Positiva label, which is a UK trance and house label.
Free. Let your mind be free.
This part would get big reactions when I play. It's so weird the way sound sights. getting at. The previous break is a bit bigger. But I think it works better like that, the chronology.
Let your mind be free.
Yes, don't ever charge for your mind. But no, I do very much enjoy that version. But like I said, it's weird. Like, it's the only one I basically ever played, like, 20 years ago, 25 years ago when I was beginning to DJ. But then when I pulled this record out, like, I don't know, it was like a week or two ago, it was to play this version, and then it was like, oh man, this other version's good. I'll listen to this other one that I never really paid attention to. Well, that's even better. Like, what? So, yeah, maybe my current, like, it's okay but not great feeling about this version is just because I'm excited about a couple other tracks. But don't get me wrong, that desperate melody, I really do enjoy that. The bass line is like classic, 90s trance bass line. I do enjoy that big, like, keyboard melody, but I think it's better the way it comes in the second drop, not where it's like part of the build-up, but where like the desperate melody is part of the build-up, it breaks, and then like a measure later you bring in that bigger melody. So I enjoyed it in the second configuration, and ultimately I think that keyboard part does remind me of Bellissima, which is another track that he made. So maybe it's because it's a little bit similar to something else he made, whereas like the other melody, the more desperate one, is sort of unique to this track. But again, I did play that at a number of parties. I'd say at least like 2 or 3, and I remember one in particular getting a really big reaction, which is what I was saying. Like, when that part hit, it was like I'm thinking about like the track itself, and then like inextricably or unavoidably I'm thinking about like the venue, like the people I was there with. Like, your brain like permanently ties things together, so that like if that neural pathway is activated, it's like, oh, but that other thing, right? So, yeah, I'm a basic crazy person is what I'm saying, but I do enjoy the Quicksilver stuff. I mentioned Planet Love is one that we'll have to go through. Planet Love has a similar dynamic. It has a like intense, frantic, a bit desperate synth that comes in first, which I really do love. Then it has a melody part that's a bit over the top for me. It's not terrible. I used it in sets before. And then it goes back to the desperate one, and then it kind of brings it all together. It's basically the same formula as this track, and as with this track, one part of it I do like notably better than the other. So that'll be a little bit down the road when we get to Planet Love. But it just occurred to me, it's my mixed feelings about the track are the same way. So again, this is a good track, but like it's one of those things where I remember actually mixing out before the second iteration of the like main drop, because it was like that big melody, it was a bit much, and I tended to mix a bit more like hard trance, and I felt like that was veering a bit too like kind of anthem, like hands up trance. So yeah, it's weird. Like over time, like the way you think about tracks, it evolves, but also like it's relative to what kind of sound you're going for in a set anyway. So I'll stop babbling, but do let me know what you think of the tune. I will see you next time. Peace.